Well, first of all, I want to thank you for being here. It's the first time I give a speech, so I'll try to do as well as I can. I will always remember my mom closing completely the blinds in my room. That was my first fear. An idea so absurd that it could only be had by a 6-year-old girl, but this was a real fear. I was lying in bed, covered up to the ears, and unable to sleep because there were thousands of eyes staring at me through that window. And I hated. I hated that they were witnessing what they could only get if someone pulled the rope, condemning them to sleep, wanting or not. I hated. Over the years, my mom was assimilating that they weren't actually eyes. Well, you will not need an explanation because every single person knows one thing as common as a blind. What I want to get is that even a little girl can get what she wants. Now I feel fear about few things, and I think that it's what sometimes makes me so strong and sometimes so weak. At home, I admit that I have always loved talking to my mom, listening to music with my father, and arguing with my sister. My mother is one of the few people who really understand me, but my father is more reserved, but I also trust in him. And then there's my sister. Without her, my life would be a complete hell. She's the bit of joy in my house, and although she's sometimes unbearable, she makes every day fun. They are the people who have made me like I am. So among other things, I want to thank them. On the subject of studies and career, they are quite open. I have always been taught that everyone has to do what they want, because the job is where we are going to spend the most of our time. And in addition, I'm not one of those people who were born with a vocation. And throughout my life, I have wanted to be a vet, a singer, and an architect, things that now I wouldn't be. But that's something I am not too sure about. Friends. Of course, my friends are a basic pillar, and with my family, they are the best thing I have now. I'm not going to give names because then I will spend hours talking about each one. But they know better than anyone that it's not necessary to mention them. They are those that make me laugh, and they support me all the time, and every day try to get the best out of me. Some are more recent than others, but all of them have given me something. Even you, who are just sitting in your chair, not even imagine how lucky I am to be this year in your class. The truth is that I am very sorry to go away to another city, but it's what always happened. But that doesn't mean forgetting anyone. As for my teacher, at the moment there have only been two who have managed to impress me. The first was my religion and Spanish teacher, José Castiñeira, at primary school. Those who know him know what I mean, and he's one of the persons who, besides teaching me to write without ever one spelling mistake, he made me for the first time stop and think. He always told us to use our brains to defend our ideas, but above all to be good people. Right now, I would like him to be listening to me, but I don't even know where he is. So I can only hope that he will remember me, because I certainly will. The second teacher who got my attention was my piano teacher, Isabel. For me, my beginning with her was really hard, because she made me work, knowing that I was perfectly able, but I didn't work hard enough, and the classes were becoming a burden for both. One day I entered into class without studying anything, and she got really angry, and she told me off. I got really sad, and when I arrived home, I began to study. The following week, I went to class really well prepared, so for her surprise and of course mine, I condensed 2 months of course into 1 week with great results, proving to myself that I would be able to achieve what I proposed, that everything was within reach of my hand. I only had to stretch out my arm. One thing I would like to highlight, as I have time today, is my trip to Sweden, one of the best experiences in my life. For me, it was a lesson for independence and maturity. A funny story that happened was on the boat to Tallinn. There was a disco, and we could be here as late as we wanted. So we had just to be at the buffet at 8:30 for breakfast. One day we went to bed too late and I put the alarm for 25 past 8. But we were too tired and none of the 4 girls that were in the room heard it. Then someone started to knock on the door, and you know how horrible it is to wake up with that noise? Well, the thing is that we all thought that it was a guy making a joke, and we started to shout out and insult him and tell him to leave, but he didn't move, still at the door. So Auri decided to open it because it was really strange that someone was knocking on the door for 10 minutes. Then she opened and we found Faustino, telling us that it was time to have breakfast. Actually, I would like to tell you more about my experience, but nothing would compare to having lived it, I assure you. And first of all, I don't want to forget to thank some of my classmates who are here present and make the trip so special. Thanks Tania, thanks Lucia Villarabid, thanks Auri, and of course thanks Nacho. Well, now we are living a very difficult phase that requires so much effort, but soon we will be in university. At the moment, we are in a period of change, and we are afraid to choose by being forced to give up certain things. But there's no decision more important than another. However, to know which option is correct, we would need to have infinite lives. One thing I think it's unlikely. For now, the only important thing we have to do is live, without forgetting what we want and what we like. That complication will come later. It's true that we are immersed in an economic crisis, but worrying about finding a job would be a waste of time because nobody can be sure. My future plans are still in the air. I don't know what I am going to do and where will I go because I don't want to know it. But I have 2 options in mind regarding my future studies, which is all that I have more or less clear. One is translation and the other art, both in Salamanca. So far, that's all I know. I want to become independent, and for that, I have to live, an idea for which I have been preparing myself the last 2 years. My school, teachers, and meeting new people has helped me to learn a little more about myself and my limitations, so thank you. If right now I have to make a vision for my future, I'd probably close my eyes like my mother did with the blinds, because otherwise everything would be too easy. So for now, all I can say is that I don't know what I want. I just know what I don't want. Thank you very much for your attention.